because he has since either deleted or privated those videos. So, again, this is just going to be my opinion as just a person with an opinion. And as such, thoughts, feelings, and opinions expressed on this channel are solely my own thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Okay? I don't think that I need to do the copyright disclaimer because I'm not really showing too many pictures or video today. But under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might be otherwise infringing. So, with that out of the way, hello, lovely people of the internet. 'Tis I, Ophelia Hartwig, aka Savage Minnow, aka, you can still call me Red. That's what people actually call me. Today we're going to be talking about Kyle Curtis and the Non Sequitur Show. I do have a couple of announcements real quick up front. But I'm going to keep most of the longer stuff till the end because I know it's already getting long up front. So some of you guys already know I'm going to be on MathPig's channel later today, tonight for him. But do hop over there and give him a follow or he's on YouTube. So subscribe to his channel. Sorry, I'm a little bit still out of it today, but that's okay. But yeah, I'm going to be on his live stream later tonight on YouTube. He has helped me out immensely with all the research for all of this that's going into it. Just as far as like connecting me with other people and that sort of thing. He didn't really like have a lot of firsthand information to give me, but he just passed me off to a lot of people, and that was pretty helpful. But please do go over there and give him a follow, send him some love, send him a thank you, even if it's just, a like or a comment or whatever. Also, if you guys are wanting Pumpkin Gate merch, I am switching over all of the Pumpkin Gate merch from Denver Skyline to Austin Skyline. If you're interested in that, link in the description. There's also a couple of still the Messed Up with Anticipation designs if you are into that. Yep. I make $1 or $2 per item. So if you're interested in, like helping me profit off of my friendship with Jimmy or whatever, if you're into that, that's a way to do that. But anyway, on to the video. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to leave the chat actually kind of closed out for now so that I can like focus on this and get through it, because I think I have like literally 11 or 12 pages of notes that I went ahead and just typed up so that I'm kind of looking up as opposed to looking down. But anyway, we're going to be talking about Kyle Curtis. I'm not even sure if I imported. Yeah, I don't have the picture of him imported. You guys might have seen it on Twitter last night, but it did get taken down, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But Kyle Russell Curtis was born on the 30th of July, 1986. That makes him a Leo. If anybody's interested in like that whole thing, just some things to like keep in mind about Leos is that sometimes they can have a domineering personality and they take over situations that maybe they wouldn't otherwise be like put in charge, but they take charge anyway. They can also be jealous of attention that's given to others, and they'll often like seek out others that are giving them attention if they're like not getting it like at home or the situation that they think that it's supposed to be given in. Yes, trail of debris. We will get to that in a little bit. Like I said, I had, I think, over 8 or 9 pages of my notes done at that point when I saw that on Twitter. So yeah, it is coming in, but we'll get to it. Also, just to note, some Leos can be prone to the melodramatic. We'll just say that. So in my sources, there were a couple places where he was referred to as Kyle Davis, but I think that was a typo. And then somebody like citing the typoed source as a source. So I think it is just, it's Kyle Curtis. Everywhere that I've seen him referred to online, it is Kyle Curtis. I have seen some of the court records, and he is referred to as Kyle Curtis in the court records. It's not like Kyle Curtis, AKA, or anything like that. So I think, like I said, that was just a typo. When I looked into Kyle's early life, most of the information that I was able to find had to do with his past history and drug arrests. And on this channel, we're not going to shame anybody with any type of mental illness. And I truly am not going to like put stuff out there. I can understand that addiction is a mental illness. And I know that there are people who are like, that's an opinion that is an established fact within the psychological community. Addiction is not a choice. It's a mental illness and it deserves to be treated and not ridiculed. And so I'm not really going to speculate about, like I said, his medical history. That's his mental health medical history. From what I understand, he is on the path to recovering from that. And I want to commend him for that. I'm not going to harp on any type of things from his past drug usage. So at the time of founding the Non Sequitur YouTube channel, which was, I think, a little bit before the podcast, although I'm not sure on that. They could have like deleted some early episodes from the podcast. I'm not really sure. I haven't actually gone back and listened to all of those to like hear, intros and background information that they might have discussed on the podcast. But Kyle was 31 years old at the time that they started the YouTube channel. And as far as I know, he was an out and proud gay man from North Carolina. From what I understand, at the time, he did have somewhat of an online presence, although it wasn't exactly clear to me what that online presence was, whether it was in the skeptics community or in the paranormal community. I'm not really sure. But over the winter of 2017 to 2018 is when he and Steve McRae met up and formed the Non Sequitur channel. And then they put everything from that channel into Kyle's name. My understanding was that it was something having to do with like search engine optimization for like Kyle to be able to do that stuff. But it did early on link to Steve's Patreon page. That was like directly in the description. So their first show, yeah, even like right off the bat, they were able to get some pretty big names. So even on their first show, they had Nathan Thompson, who is the flat earther guy who you might have known him from the news because he was like asking a NASA employee in the Starbucks about flat earth. That guy. Yeah, on their second show, they got Kent Hovind. So you might have heard about him even on my channel before. We've talked about him. He hasn't obviously been on my channel, but we have talked about him on my channel before. So obviously Steve had some contacts from before this, and he did actually have a channel before this that he referred to as the Great Debate Community. Now, we're just going to like go ahead and just like stick a pin in that for right now and come back to that because there's more on that. But like I said, we got to stay focused on Kyle today. So we're just going to come back to that later. Okay. We're just going to stick it up here and we're going to come back to it later. Okay. So the idea of the Non Sequitur Show is that this would be a place for you YouTubers to come and discuss topics of discourse, right? So Kent Hovind, flat earther, like people who maybe have some outrageous claims. And then I remember the motto was where opinions are sacred, right? So we're going to respect people's opinions, even if we think that they're absolutely out of this world, right? And I think that's a really cool concept of just like being able to respect everyone. And like I said, the show did a pretty good job of bringing in some big names right from the start, due in a large part to Steve's contacts. And Kyle went to work on a lot of the visual elements of the channel, which I can tell you is a lot of work. Steve, like, he did come with contacts and stuff, but actually, I think I do have a picture. Sorry, I have to get a sip of my coffee while it's still hot. I think I do have a picture of, yeah, it's going to be a big whole picture. So this is the thumbnails from Steve's channel is on the left. and this is around the same time that the Non Sequitur Show started to get going. So you can see really the visual contrast between these two. And I can tell you just from like my own little experience of putting some visual elements together, it really is a lot of work. But you can see on Steve's channel, it's mostly just screen grabs. It's probably like the default screen grab from whatever the stream was. He didn't probably even change it. It doesn't look like any of these are even edited to like, you know, add a border, add some flares, add some text, nothing. Whereas on the right, you can see the stuff that Kyle did for the Non Sequitur Show. It's very colorful, eye-catching. He's got a lot of these like sort of burst backgrounds that he sort of fades in. He's got pictures of the people who are talking, even if you don't necessarily see their face when you get on stream. And just has a lot more visually eye-catching things going on, right? So that's not to say that like one or the other was doing more work, but they were at that point in time a partnership. And from pretty much everybody's understanding, it was a partnership. We are going to talk a little bit more about that later, but yeah, it was supposed to be a partnership. So the channel began to like grow pretty quickly and gain some notoriety of its own right. And then Kyle was able to actually just book people based on the notoriety of the channel. Kind of more in the atheist, metaphysical, skeptic kind of community. And he was booking shows with guests like Godless Engineer, Shannon Q, Ocean's Keltoid. And by that time, they also roped in Red's Rhetoric, and David was able to help them produce the show. So in June, they had Telltale on, who we have briefly discussed on this channel. Sorry, I'm going to turn this off over here. We have briefly discussed Telltale. Actually, I think we mostly just talked about him in the comments now that I'm thinking about it. So let me know if you guys want me to do maybe like after I get finished with this series, do an episode that's just like kind of smaller players and a little bit of information here and there. Because there are just like a couple of little bits here and there. But yeah, in July, they were able to book Drew from Genetically Modified Skeptic, who is another kind of skeptic, atheist type YouTuber, and our pal, Jimmy Snow. At that time, he was known as Mr. Atheist, and he pretty quickly became a regular on the show. The first show that he was there for, I believe, was he was arguing that voting should be mandatory. And I think he was like arguing with everybody else. I think everybody else was like, no, voting shouldn't be mandatory. And he was like, yes, it should be. And you can go back and watch that on the Non Sequitur Show. Is still up today, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. Now, one rumor that I did run into here that I want to go ahead and quash is the one about Jimmy and Kyle having some type of romantic or sexual relationship. In all of my hours of research, and I assure you, it was hours and hours and hours and hours, I did not find anything to back that rumor up. As far as I know, the two of them were not even residing in the same states at the same time. So unless it was like 100% online distance type of thing, I don't even see it even having a grain of truth. So let's quash that one. I will say, watching Jimmy's channel at the time, he did give a lot of attention to the fact that he was being hosted on the Non Sequitur Show, particularly in relation to Kyle and their friendship. And that kind of seemed like it was budding. But to me, this kind of harkens back to that Leo attribute of like, he's getting a lot of attention to Jimmy, so he's going to like be putting a lot of energy into that relationship from Jimmy. I think that's really what it was. Like I said, the channel was on the rise and bringing in some great guests, getting some good reviews, bringing in actually kind of a variety of guests. One of them I remember had even been on the Dr. Phil show I saw before they came on to the Non Sequitur Show. That's like a whole thing with like the whole Jilly Juice thing. I think we might just have to like stick a pin in that one too and come back to that one we're just going to stick a pin in that one too. Okay. So Kyle was able to bring some guests on as regulars, including Katie Joy from Without a Crystal Ball. And of course, our pal Jimmy got in on that love fest. Now, there was some speculation at this time that Steve or Kyle may have been buying subs for the channel. That was another rumor that was floating around. I was not able to find any receipts to this. There was a lot of speculation around this, and there were people who were saying, well, you can look at this and this is evidence and this is evidence, but like there wasn't anything that was like provable receipts. And if you do want to like look into that whole, I'm going to call it a conspiracy theory, but that's like some conspiracy theories are true. Okay. If you want to go look into that, you're absolutely welcome to. I don't necessarily know that it is the case, and I certainly don't have any evidence that would say definitively, yes, they were buying subs. But yeah, like I said, everything was put in Kyle's name and Steve's Patreon, and it was linked to Steve's Patreon. However, they would later on go on to have an additional tipping page that was just linked to the Non Sequitur Show, and it went directly into Kyle's account. And the two of them agreed that the revenue would be split 50-50. There are a few different speculations going around as to why Kyle said at this point in time why Steve told Kyle at this point in time to hold on to the money until the end of the year. Now, everybody says that Steve told Kyle, hold on to all of the revenue until the end of the year, and then we'll split it. But there's different kind of speculations as to why that is. And I think, again, we're going to have to just stick a pin in it. But hopefully that'll be like one of the ones that will be pretty quick to pull down, I think next week. So like I said, we're already like 25 minutes into this. So like I think I'm out of pins, and I'm going to have a bunch of holes in this border when we're done with this, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Okay. So there's some big guests, kind of decent views. They start to get a little bit of income from the show from various sources, tips, AdSense, merch, Patreon, etc. And they go on for a while, like over a year. And there is a little bit of tension brewing below the surface. As viewers, we may not have been aware of it at the time, but if you go back and watch even some of those earlier videos and like the first year of them going, there's a little bit of tension happening behind the scenes. And you can kind of see it just in like intonation sometimes, I think. Maybe I'm imagining it, but like that's what I'm seeing. My understanding is that at this time, technically, Steve was still in charge of booking, and there were some other things about the show, but Kyle was bringing in some regular guests. So again, like Katie Joy, this was before the whole Tati thing and all of that, but she was supposed to be doing a weekly segment. Jimmy was doing a weekly segment. And if you watch Jimmy's channel at all at this time, he was like literally every show doing like a shout out saying, hey, I'm going to be on Non Sequitur Show. We're going to have a call-in show, blah, 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 blah. This was before Jimmy had his own call-in show, which he hasn't done in a while, which I kind of wonder why. But anyway, I think that at that point in time, Kyle felt like he was doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the channel, because remember, he was still doing all of the visual stuff, and Steve was the one who's supposed to be bringing in all the bookings, but Kyle was really kind of doing both. Around this time, Steve had said some shit that like pissed people off in the atheist community. And there were some big names saying that they didn't really want to come on his show anymore. I think it was around this time that Steve had gone off on a Patreon supporter, like literally on air, and basically told him to like take his $50 a month and shove it where the sun don't shine, which is not really how you need to be like speaking to your Patreon supporters. But anyway, let's see, where was I? Oh, yeah. So Kyle began to take the channel in a different direction, which was more about views and online presence than it was about really offline community. And I want to note that this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but in an ideal situation, that would be like something that is like discussed and decided among partners and, you know, like partners and producers and like, you know, possibly employees of the channel also, and not just like decided by one person, unless it's a channel that's like just a one person channel. And then you can get away with that. But when you become a bigger than one person channel, you kind of need to like, you know, include some of those people in on your decisions. This is when I would say the real irreparable rift began to form. I think it's a bit of a he said, but a lot of the people who've stepped away from the mess have been basically too graceful to point fingers. And my understanding is that there was some people who were substantial, who had some substantial recognition outside of YouTube that I would say really had a real cultural impact, who began pulling back because they did not feel like they were really cool with everything that was going on stream all the time. Some of them said that, oh, it was just really hard to get stuff scheduled. But again, I don't know if they're basically being too graceful to point fingers. Both sides have mentioned scheduling issues. So scheduling guests, basically. So that is the one kind of common thread that I could find, but I don't know exactly what happened with this. Despite the scheduling issues and conflicts with the people owning and running the show, they continued to grow an audience and turn a profit for over a year until it kind of came to a head in 2019. According to Steve in his complaint to the court, he asked Kyle to hand over half of the revenue from Streamlabs, AdSense, etc. at the end of 2018, to which Kyle responded that he would first like to hand it over to his accountant to take a look at it. Now, if you're not in the US, I'm going to explain like really quickly how taxes work here. If you have a job where you get like a regular paycheck where you like go to a boss and your boss pays you every week, you get a portion of your paycheck that is held aside, sent to the federal government for your taxes. It's an estimated amount. And then usually at the end of the year, when you file your paperwork, you get some of that back because it's usually like an overestimate a little bit. If you're self-employed or if you're a contract worker, you have to pay all of that in one lump sum at the end of the year. Sorry, I need to get another sip of coffee. So, a lot of times you like put some of that in savings, blah, blah, blah. A lot of YouTubers get fucked over here because if you are still considered to be a dependent of your parents, or if you don't have any dependents yourself, a lot of times that tax rate is like 25% of what would be considered like your non-essential income, basically. So just like a little side note here, I know I'm trying to not like do any side tangents and I'm trying to like not look at the chat so I can stay focused. But if you're somebody who has a side gig, any type of side gig, YouTube, whatever, a good rule of thumb is like literally half of everything goes into savings for taxes and incidental expenses. Okay. So all of your expenses that you know are already coming out, your scheduled expenses and your take home pay, that's all like 50%, right? So take out your expenses from that 50% and then like that's what you have left. And it sucks when you like look at your paycheck and you're like, oh, this is how much it is. And then like you like do the math and you're like, I'm left with not very much of that, but it'll save you at the end of the year. It'll save you when you like end up having like this big expense where you're like, oh shit, how do I pay for that? Okay. I'm just going to say it. Sorry. I know I'm being like a little bit of a mom, but, moving on. Okay. So anyway, I think partially because I think that might have been something that was related to what happened here. I haven't gone back and looked over all of the court records that actually say the expenses, but like I think that has happened to a lot of YouTubers where it's like they go to pay their taxes at the end of the year and it's like, oh shit, I don't have enough money in this account to pay all the taxes that I owe. So in the US, you file your paperwork in April, or you get in trouble. Actually, okay, in 2020, they pushed it back, but every year since like 1955, besides 2020, we paid it in April, okay? So it's either the 15th or the next business day after the 15th. So like the Monday after the 15th, if the 15th falls on a Saturday or Sunday. I think that's right. Check me in the comments if I'm not. Anyway, 2019, April 15th was on a Monday. And, let's see. Yeah. And that was the last day for filing your taxes. Or again, you can file an extension, but like that's, from what I understand, not what happened here. But according to Steve, on the 16th of April, he contacted Kyle and said, hey, you should have filed your taxes by now. You should have all that financial information to hand over to me. Can you please hand it over to me? And they didn't really come to an answer, right? So, again, Steve says this conversation happened on the 16th, but like I imagine that it probably was like a little bit more drawn out and like over several encounters. Because it didn't really come to a head until June. Hey, Big. Yeah, and in June is when we get that infamous Death of the Non Sequitur Show video that we've all seen, where it's like Steve and Bullinator and Reds, they get on a call with Kyle and they basically confront him. And that is an important piece of the puzzle, so I do recommend going to watch that if you haven't seen it already. I need to link that down in the description. Hold on. Got to make notes about what I'm linking. Okay. Emily D. Baker, Death of the Non Sequitur Show video. Sorry, I just had breakfast before I got on stream too. Where was I? Yeah, go check out that video if you haven't seen it already. In that video, we see that Kyle does admit to Steve that they were 50-50 partners and that he would have all the financial information sent over to Steve. There is like this sort of like, oh yeah, I'll have it sent over to you like any second. And Steve's like, yes, now please. And like, it like doesn't happen. And you're just kind of like, okay, but like, do it now, please. But yeah, that's some other things that we're just like going to go ahead and just like tuck them under that like yellow pen for now. And like, we'll get it down next week. Okay. So let's move on to what Kyle did after this whole leaked conversation, which to be fair is, pretty much nothing, at least as far as the financial documents go. As far as the channel went, from the outside, there was this video that was from Kyle where he was basically saying, hey, I'm kicking Steve off of my channel. And that was that. We had tons more shows with Godless Engineer, Shannon Q, Without a Crystal Ball. And yes, our pal Jimmy got his own show. Do you remember Modern Day Atheist? That was the one. Yeah, that was the show. That was Jimmy's show on the Non Sequitur Show channel. This was, again, going on all behind the scenes while just from the front, we were just like, oh, Steve's gone? Now, according to some of the sources that I've talked to, at some point there was a meeting between Steve and Kyle where, depending on who you talk to, Steve was either supposed to receive the financial documents or the money, or both the financial documents and the money. But that meeting did take place and there was no money that was exchanged at all. So, again, we did see in that video that Kyle agreed that he did owe Steve the money, but when they met up, it did not change hands. Now, at this time, according to several sources, Steve was in contact with both Kyle and our pal Jimmy Snow. And what were they saying to him? Well, both Kyle and Jimmy were telling Steve, hey, you'll get your money. Don't worry. You'll get everything that's coming to you. Just wait. Your money's coming. Now, some of my sources say that at this time, Kyle began telling a number of stories, such as Steve was a paid employee, Steve wasn't owed any money, Steve didn't need or want the money, or he was just trying to come after Kyle for the channel, or, oh my gosh, Steve was trying to defraud the government. We'll get back to that one. I swear. It's here. It's here. It's under the yellow pen. I promise. However, all sources agreed that Steve never received the money. So on the 23rd of August, Steve filed a complaint with the North Carolina Superior Court, which I'm going to have linked down in the description. I think I already have that link saved. So we're good on that one. What I do have linked down there is just the complaint, because there were over 70 docket entries, and I have them all saved on my computer. But if you want to find links to those, you can find them very easily with the case number. I'm not going to like link all 70 entries because I'm sorry, I don't have time for that. I will tell you, however, that there was a status report filed in February of this year that states that Kyle still has yet to comply with some of the prior rulings of the court, including turning over the control of the channel to Steve. In my opinion, it might be that at this point, nobody has the passwords to the channel anymore. Like even Kyle doesn't have the passwords to the channel. I think his name is still associated with it, but he has like said he doesn't have the passwords anymore. So I think that Steve should be able to, with the court ruling, be able to contact YouTube and just like have them turn it over to him on the back end. I don't know why that wouldn't be possible, but nonetheless, that has been the ruling, and as far as I know, it has not been complied with. One of the final docket entries, I think, is one that has been causing some contention online, and that was that there was an order for arrest listed in both June and July of this year. My speculation is that the first one in June, and again, speculation, not a lawyer, but I'm thinking that the one in June was what is referred to as a bench warrant. Basically, it's more of just like a get your ass in here order. It's just like more of a notice. It doesn't really become an active warrant right away. So in some states, if you're pulled over or if you have any violation while you have a bench warrant, they'll take you in, but it really just depends on the jurisdiction. Again, this is my speculation, but what my guess is, that's what the one in June was, but the one in July was issued on the 19th, and it looks a little bit more serious. It may still be a bench warrant, but usually when you're getting into like 2 and 3, that's when the judge is looking to issue an active arrest warrant, which is where they'll take you in, really, if you have like any run-ins with the police, like whatsoever. Now, in a recent interview from like 2 weeks ago, Kyle stated that he had such a run-in on the 31st of July, in which he was briefly detained by the police for destroying property while intoxicated, but he was released on site without being apprehended into custody. My guess, again, just speculation, is that this arrest order, well, it might have possibly been an active warrant, it might not, but if it was from another county, and perhaps it wasn't updated into the system yet, because in America, bureaucracy moves at a snail's pace. Sorry. So yeah. Now we are going to get to what I did see people mentioning in the chat. And like I said, I've been trying not to look at it because I've been trying to stay really focused. I've been doing a good job, right? I've been staying focused. So it does appear that Kyle was arrested and booked on assault charges yesterday. I can't say if those assault charges were related to the incident in July or not. I really don't know. I do want to mention a thing that I noticed after I tweeted about this, and that is at the time of writing the outline, the Twitter post documenting Kyle's arrest had been taken down. And I think I know why. At the time that I saw this post, it had like 74 likes, 3 hours after posting it. 74 likes doesn't actually sound like a lot if you like follow a lot of, big YouTubers on Twitter and stuff. But this account that was posting it is just like an account that posts mugshots, and they're literally lucky to get like 1 like on a post, 1 retweet on a post for other ones. I think it had like 40 something retweets, 74 likes. And it was like so many people like Steve and his crew that have been liking and sharing it nonstop until it was taken down. And that is kind of where we're at today, which brings me to my conclusion and a little bit of a lesson that I am, like, if you were missing the side tangent, here it is, okay? Here's the side tangent. Yes, if you're following on YouTube, do jump over and follow MathPig. He did just drop a link in the YouTube chat, so please do go over there. Okay, I'm going to tell a story, and Pig knows the story, okay? A while back, there was a person in my neighboring community who died. And like most rural communities, it's one of those places where everybody kind of knows everyone else. Everybody kind of knows their business. But when this guy died and they went to go contact his next of kin, it turned out that the name that he'd been living under wasn't actually his name. And he'd been living under a false identity for over 20 years. Being that, like I said, it's a community full of friggin' busybodies. Eventually, somebody tracked down his real family, and it turned out that this guy had been basically involved in some shady business dealings back in his 30s. And when they came after him, like, he went on the run. And because of that decision that he made in his 30s, because of these people who were coming after him, he never had contact with his family again. And some of you guys know I've recently dealt with, a week ago, the death of my Nana. And it makes me think, like, this guy, he wasn't there for his siblings when his mom passed away. He wasn't there to see his nieces and nephew grow up. He never got married. And like, that could have been because he didn't feel comfortable getting a marriage certificate, getting a wedding license, because he knew that he would have to give a birth certificate and they could find him. And he basically lived a shell of his life, of what it could have been in those years when he should have been able to, like, be enjoying everything that he had achieved in his life, enjoying his family. And I don't want that to happen to Kyle. Yes, I might think that he's an asshole, and I think that he's a thief, and maybe even he deserves time in prison if he's guilty of assaulting somebody. I literally don't have any information on the assault arrest besides he was arrested in Wake County, North Carolina for assault yesterday. That's all I know. But even assholes are human, and I believe that all humans deserve to have their basic needs met. And that includes resources such as food, water, shelter, but it also includes health, security, and family or human connection. You know, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs and all that shit. And I know that this is like a bit of a point of contingency among Americans, particularly when it comes to like the whole, health shit. But that's my opinion, and that's how I feel. Okay. And, even if he does go to prison, I just hope that he doesn't become a missing person. That's just my feelings on it. So, like I said, that's all I've got for today. We're going to pull these down. Okay. I promise we're going to pull them down next week. And it might be like a couple weeks on some of them, but we'll pull them down. That's all I've got for today. I promised I would keep the longer stuff till the end. So this is the longer stuff. And if you just came to hear about Non Sequitur Show, that's it. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. I will be doing 2 more live streams later this week. I'm going to be doing an Amberlynn live stream on Thursday if, hopefully, if it works out. But that's my plan. I'm doing Math Pig stream later today, so that's why I'm not doing a live react of her stream today. But if I hear it's a good one, don't give me any spoilers in the comment. Just let me know if it's a good one, and I'll do a react to it tomorrow. But yeah, otherwise I will just do a reaction on Thursday, hopefully. Also, fingers crossed. Hopefully, Gamer Mom Cooking might be making a comeback this Friday. We're still dealing with a lot of the logistics with my Nana's death. So I just told my mom, just take her time and do what she needs to do and no pressure. So, I'm not making any promises, but that might happen. Otherwise, I will try to squeeze in another Jimmy reaction for you. I might try to do one this weekend anyway. We'll see. But before I go, yes, sorry, I got lost in my notes. Before I go, I do want to shout out a lovely, lovely lady whom I've been following on YouTube for quite some time, and her name is Diana Clarion. If you follow me and you don't follow her, I don't know why, because she is the Lavender Lady. She is just a wonderful, lovely, just delight to grace this planet. She's amazing. And she's going through dialysis right now. So I do want to shout her out, just because she's been having some real issues paying her medical bills. And I'm going to put her info in the description. And even if you can just go and share her page or give her a sub or a like or whatever, I mean, it would just mean a lot to her. just getting the word out there really, even if you can't contribute financially, would really mean a lot to her. And by proxy, it would mean a lot to me, you know, because selfishly, I want her to live for like a long time. Like, it's totally a selfish thing. She and I have a date to like see the eclipse together in a couple years. And if she doesn't make it, I don't have a place to stay. So I'm selfish and I want her to take me. So, please do help her out. Again, I am going to jump off here. I'm going to actually take a look at the comments because I've been doing a really good job of ignoring the comments the whole time. So I'm going to go over and look at the comments and then probably jump off. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'm going to start at the top and scroll down. Yes. Yeah. Sorry about the echo at the beginning. I do love Emily D. Baker, and I do have notes to link her in the description. Yes, he did get arrested. No trouble, Sadie. It will be up for a while, so you can watch it from the beginning if you missed anything at the beginning. Sorry, I just got to the ALR Octopus Diet Saga. Yeah. Yes, hours and hours. But I did actually do hours and hours of research. I'm not saying that Amberlynn didn't, but like I did. Oh my gosh, Emily said that they keep getting timed out. I'm going to assume she, because of the name Emily, that she keeps getting timed out in Telltale's live for probably just like asking questions. Yes. Yeah, sometimes I do feel like it's a little bit cult-like over there, even though he's the one who keeps throwing around the word cult. Trail of Debris said if KJ had her fingers in this as well, profited from some sub counts, then it wouldn't put her past her to have done the sub buying, to be honest. That would make sense. She is one of the names that I heard about wrapped up in the whole sub buying situation. Yeah, we all remember his shout outs, Porgnatius. Like, it was, well, not all of it, but yeah. Yeah, it was all the time. It would be kind of scary if he did a call-in show now. Jimmy did, yeah. Yeah, unilateral decisions are never good for when you have a team of people working. I don't know how many people still do associate with him. I think my understanding is that like the interview was kind of like he just crawled out of the woodwork and somebody said, "Hey, I'll give you a place to talk about this." And they hit him with some questions, but not like some really hard questions. So yeah, it was interesting. See you later, Matt Peg. Oh, thank you. Yes. Usually we do Gamer Mom Cooking on Fridays. We did push it back to a Saturday once, and then we ended up canceling because my Nana got really sick and stuff. But hopefully we will put it back on Friday. Yes, dialysis does sound super, super rough, Emily. It's I feel for her so hard. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, I am going to go ahead and jump off and leave it there. Thank you all for tuning in. Those of you on Twitch and those of you on YouTube. See if I can pull up my end screen here. If today is your birthday, I want to wish you a very happy birthday. Either way, I hope you make it a good one. I want to give a special thanks to my financial supporters, the Cora St. Clair, my lovely Savage Mama, TikTok Bunny, and Peapot Fairy. These are all people who have helped out the channel in some sort of way financially, and they are really the guys who really keep it all running. So Really, this is all thanks to them. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.